Hello, I'm Quentin, and at the end of February 2025, I set off in my campervan on a trip with no fixed plan, but it ended up being mostly an exploration of northeast England and southwest Scotland. In fact, quite a few of the Scottish bits are actually south of many of the English bits. Anyway, do come along with me and my spaniel, and let's see where we ended up. Well, we had a very peaceful night overnight in the van. Now we're going to do a little walk before breakfast, which I've done many times before. The Crag Hotel is cleverly directing people to Helm Crag through their front garden. There is another way up, but no doubt you'd like to pick up some refreshment as you go by. Well, we might as we come back down. I've stayed in that room there in the past, and it's a lovely location. It needed a little TLC. Now, you may have to take my word for it, but there's a little deer hiding up there, and he's seen us. You might just see his white bottom. Neither Tilly nor I are as young as we once were for this little ascent before breakfast, but boy is it worth it. It would help if we got the right path. The path had moved a little since I was last here, so I think I was following the sheep's route. Yes, this is the path I'm more used to. Not having come up through the Crag grounds before, I got a little diverted. Now we're going up on top of this big crag here, and the path does this nice thing of winding around the back, which A, makes the ascent easier, but also means you get a view from above. Not that the views on the way up aren't pretty good too. Across there you can see very nicely the beck that comes out of Easdale Tarn, and the path that goes across at a nice gentle angle just above it. If I had more time and not quite such an elderly dog, I might walk around and down. I've never done that full circuit, my brother has, but that would be a lovely one to do. I have been up here though, and along this ridge, and we came down way over far into the lake and walked back. Lovely, lovely walk, but hard work in places. With every moment, the light is changing and the view is changing. When you climb up here, there's a tendency to take far too many photos. I actually have lots of photos taken with my proper camera here, so I'm trying not to overdo it. But for the benefit of viewers, there we get a nice view of Grasmere. About Helm Crag is it's a short but steepish climb. It's only 400 metres, about 1,200 feet, something like that, 1,250. But when you get to the top, you do know you've got to the top. Well, we're not going right to the top, but we're going to the viewpoint. The very top is only 100 metres up there. I've been up there, but this is the bit I like. There you go. There is part of the village of Grasmere, actually all of the village of Grasmere. A little bit hazy so you can't quite see it. And you see Grasmere Lake behind. If we look around this way, we're just high enough to see Easdale Tarn. A little bit of it peeping out over there. Let's go over the top here. Well, this is a pretty good place to be before breakfast. And Kakubri was very nice, but I am glad I swapped it for here. Sorry, Kakubri, you can't compete with this, but we will come back and see you sometime. In the meantime, this is one of my favourite views. It really is. This is partly because it's just beautiful in itself, but partly because the Lake District is associated with so many happy childhood memories. I've been coming here on holidays for decades, for almost as long as I can remember. Not all the time, because it is quite a journey from us, but it's always been a good time whenever I'm here. Okay, Tilly, should we go and get some breakfast? I think that's a good idea. Tell you what, it got really quite windy on the top. It's nice to be in the shade of the wind. You wouldn't have thought it, because it's not overall cold, given that it's probably about, this is trying to look at his watch, it's just before 8:30 in early March. And my hands are chilly, but not so much that I wish I'd brought gloves with me. However, right up on the top there, that was quite a blow picked up, and we were pleased to get out of it. Tilly was sitting in my wind shadow. Tilly's mountain survival skills. Just down, I'm not sure if I can see, just down about there is the little stream, the little ford that Tilly paddled in yesterday evening, and I suspect will want to do so again this morning. Path down does get a little steep here, but at least there are nice steps all the way. I'm trusting Tilly to find her own route, which may not be the wisest thing. Her vision isn't what it once was. I was thinking on the way up, you know, she's 15 and a half now. So if you believe that old thing about, you know, one dog year being equivalent to 7 human years, then she's, what, 108? So she's really not doing badly. Turns out the Crag Hotel isn't actually open this morning. As I went by, I heard someone saying, "Makeup have arrived." So either they're filming something there, or maybe it's a wedding. I don't know. But anyway, we'll need to go somewhere else to get our breakfast. But I'm going back along here to the little bridge and ford, because I think Tilly would badly like a drink. Yeah, somehow I thought you'd like that, Tiddles. So we're heading out of Grasmere, which is sad. There are lots of nice places here. We could have got breakfast actually, since the Crag wasn't open today. But I called ahead to an old favourite of ours, Chester's by the River, which I think had some hard times recently. In fact, we were told it had essentially closed. But no, they are open, they are doing breakfast, and so I am excited to see what they can offer us. It used to be very, very good. I think they had a really hard time in COVID. You know, it's a wonderful thing about a camper van, you've got a nice one, is to come down from a stiff walk, even though it wasn't, you know, a huge mountain we climbed. It was still pretty energetic for me before my first coffee. And to be able to have a shower in the car park before you head on for your breakfast, that is terribly civilized. Just up here on the left is Dove Cottage, where William Wordsworth used to live. There's a whole load of Wordsworth related stuff here. Not least the Daffodil Hotel here on the right. And they probably do have clouds of lovely daffodils. Well, they've got a few at the moment. I think more coming soon. Well, we are coming through the centre of Ambleside here. Some interesting traffic. We have a big lorry parked outside a clothing store. We were just behind a tractor with a trailer towing another tractor on the trailer. This is all quite fun. So, got a little bit of a hold up here because the tractor that's following the tractor towing the tractor met cars coming the other way. I think we'll let things clear for a moment. Well, I tell you what, going along these narrow roads, if you follow a lot of big traffic, then everybody has pulled over for you. I've got these two in front, and I've got a big truck behind. Anyway, here we are. We are at Skeleth Bridge, and if you saw my videos, if you've been really dedicated, I made a video in the last campervan but one. Oh gosh, that must be 5-6 years ago or something, where we were going up to Scotland in midwinter, and we came here then, and it was a grey day. But here is someone much larger than me just coming out. So I'll be very pleased to take their space. That was quite brave to think you could get your big Heimer into there, but they did it. Oh, it's an Exis. It's not quite as big as it might be, but it's still a lot bigger than me. Well, here we are. Oh, Tilly might want to come in. I don't know if they'll do you anything better than the nice breakfast you got down here, Tilly. Anyway, let's go and see what Chester's have to offer. Oh, bakery. That's very good. Well, we decided to sit outside, and I'm having a very nice frittata. That's good. Well, I'm delighted to find that Chester's by the River is open again. Maybe it was always open. During lockdown, they did have a little takeaway bit, and then I heard they were mostly just a bakery. I think when we went once before, all you could do was buy loaves of bread. But even though they've changed, they don't have the range of sort of lunch options. At least I didn't see those that they used to have. And that's a pity, because those were very, very good. However, if you want sweet bakery type things, it's an excellent range at the moment, and it's still a lovely location, and they have a small number of savoury things as well, which I enjoyed. I've just stopped briefly at Rayrig Meadow car park, for the simple reason that this was where I almost spent last night. There are some public loos here, though they're closed at the moment, and I think there's a charge when they're open. But even though this is a busy-ish road behind us, I expect it quietens down at night quite a lot. And if you come over here, you'd be a good distance away from it. There are nice walks from here. You can go up over the top there, and you can also walk down to the lakeside. And the sign So it says no camping, that means on the grass, because underneath it very definitely says overnight parking available to motorhomes in this car park. Please purchase an overnight ticket at the machine. Payment period for overnight parking 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. I'll go and have a look at how much that is. Okay, overnight parking available to motorhomes, £11.80. That's pretty good. This is a good location, and if I were just passing through and hadn't managed to negotiate an agreement with a hotel, this would have been a fine place to stop. Well, we are making our slow and steady way down to Derbyshire. This is a very long tailback, and we have been travelling for some time at, well, less than 15 miles an hour, and often stationary. But this is the M6, and there are not very many alternatives. Now, we are, in theory, going to turn off this onto the M61 in about 9 miles. And as we're currently doing 9 miles an hour, I don't expect that to come very soon. Well, we shall see. Well, we are in the Peak District. Lovely countryside all around us. Very different from the lakes, but still lovely. And we are here rather later than expected because the motorways were terrible. We've taken, a good hour longer to get here than we thought, and probably more than that. But fortunately, we weren't in a hurry for anything, and we don't have to get here for a particular time because we basically just have a parking space in a farmer's field. Because of the delay, we ended up getting into the rush hour traffic as well, so even the bits that might normally have been clear then became a bit more congested. But look at this scenery, it's lovely. Very fine. This is quite fun. I'm heading out along an unknown road in almost complete darkness. I think the turn off to the farm is just a little way down here, but it looks as if we've got a sort of parking spot off one of the farm roads. Not much more than that, but that is just fine. We will wake up in an interesting environment. However, before that, I do need to fill up with some water if I can, so I'll have to go and find their hose, which I have seen a picture of. That may not be much use in the dark. Let's see where we get to. Half a mile, we turn right. Now, just here is my parking lot, and I know this is it because he sent me a 3 words location to identify it precisely. That looks as if it will do just fine. I am just going to go on and disturb the farm and just see if I can find a tap. The farm is just down below us here. I can see the vague outlines of the buildings. Kind of expect this to be a very rough road, but it's actually not too bad. Well, I crept up to the farm as quietly as one can in a big diesel van, filled up with water from the tap there. Fortunately, James, the owner, proprietor, air organizer, I think he's the son of the farm, had sent me a picture, so I knew roughly what I was looking for. Now, just trying to reverse out in the dark without banging into anything I shouldn't bang into. There are some very hard stone walls here. Right, now go back up the hill to our parking spot. Well, this is pretty wild camping, in the sense that it's not wild camping at all because I'm paying somebody to stay on their land, but it is definitely out in the middle of the nowhere. This is where you really want to have a self-contained van, because there is nothing up here. Maybe not even shelter from the wind. We'll see what it's like. This is fun. we go. Wow, what a pitch. Okay, let's see if I can find a levelish spot on there. I should show you what I'm seeing here. Let's see if I can do this. So here is the screen showing my reversing camera, and by the illumination of the reversing lights I can just about see the lighter coloured area that is gravel that I think I'm fairly safe to reverse onto. And I don't have anyone else with me to tell me how I'm doing here. Hope I don't fall into any holes. Tell you what, I think this is going to be great. I think this is actually pretty level. Okay, well, we're on the gravel there. We're slightly off the gravel there, so I could pull forward a bit. We're a little bit downhill, but nothing that would stop us sleeping or using our facilities. I could put some levelling ramps if I cared about it. Yeah, I could go back a little bit onto the grass, actually. And on that side, anyway, that would be lower. Yeah, I think if I reverse just a little bit further, I'll be a bit more level, and then I probably won't bother with ramps. Well, there is our little van out here in the almost total darkness. Just taking Tilly for a little stroll. Well, here we are, heating on, all snug and warm, despite being way out in the moors with storms raging. Well, cold wind outside, and I have the that traditional problem of, does one have Shiraz or Rioja with a Marmite sandwich? But I think I've decided on the Shiraz, and so I'm settling down for dinner. And I bid the rest of you good night for now. Well, it is a beautiful, if somewhat chilly, morning out here at Thick Withens Farm in the Derbyshire Peak District. This is another of those camper airs, by the way, that we talked about earlier. I am here out in a field, but on land where the owner knows and approves I'm here. I've paid them a small amount to be here. They were very helpful in getting here. So I strongly recommend these. If you're only really familiar with staying on club sites or CLs and you're intrigued by this idea of wild camping, wild parking, then the airs are a good sort of halfway point. They are, stopovers where you can test out your van and see how well it works if you have very limited external support for things like, how well does your battery last the night, or your heating system, or whatever. And I have to say, we've been very impressed with our new Westphalia Columbus here. This is the 5.4 meter version. It's quite compact, which has been wonderful for getting into some of the places we've been on this journey. It's very compact inside. You would have to, like each other a lot. Normally there are two of us and a dog in there, and you have to work out a little dance to be happy in such a small space. But it has been a great van, and the heating system particularly has been exceedingly good on this trip. So today we turn and head for home, which is about 3 hours down the road. It's going to be mostly driving from here on. So I think this is probably a good place to draw this little video to a close. If you followed along, thank you so much. I hope it's been interesting. I hope it's shown you some places you might want to visit. And we have stayed in everything from pub car parks, town council car parks, airs like this, to big campsites. That was part of the idea of this. I wanted to try more different types of camping spot. It's been great for that. We've been through goodness knows how many counties, 2 countries, East Coast and West Coast, all different weathers. It's been really good fun. So thank you for following along, and I hope to see you back again for more adventures in the future. Come on, Tilly. Time to go home.